Alright everyone, it's time for Vermont Issues, episode 63. The Vermont teachers up in Burlington, yeah, they're still on strike. They can't agree to a budget. Now, the link in the description is actually from the World Socialist website, because they tend to cover things like this. Now, obviously, they're very pro-union, very pro, socialist things. So they side more with the teachers. I would say this, one component of it that I can understand the teachers on a little bit is they were kind of forced into a new contract, and they're like, well, what the hell is happening? This isn't giving us much in new wages. If you're going to have a union at all, yeah, people are going to try to extract. You can't really blame the teachers, the little people within a union, for wanting more. It's just the natural state of affairs. They're like, well, why wouldn't we want more? So when the union representatives are like, oh, well, we'll just sell them short. They're getting wage increases anyway, and they shouldn't be fucking upset about it. Yeah, they probably will be. It's just sort of natural. I'm not going to blame them for that. What I would blame the teachers for in this is they're walking out, and the students aren't getting taught every day of the week. That, to me, is totally unacceptable. And if I were within that community, if I were a taxpayer, I would tell the city's government, I'd say, look, what fucking purpose is it to bother having schools at all if you can't rely upon the teachers being there? If they want to negotiate or picket on their own time or do a million other things, who cares? That's their prerogative. But when it comes to our students, we're funding, as taxpayers, we're funding this school. As taxpayers, we're paying the salaries of these teachers to teach. That's their job description. And so they walk out. Nobody's getting taught within these schools where they're on strike, and we're told to basically screw ourselves and keep paying them anyway. I consider that totally wrong, because one of the problems with unions, I'll say this, is that a union of people within an industry or a job or something like schooling or nuclear power workers, I used the example of in the last video on this topic, it could be necessary for the function of a society. Why is it that the rest of the people that are paying them, the taxpayers, aren't considered in a de facto sense? Why aren't they their own union as the whole population? I think they have a right to be represented in the needs of what their children are getting for an education, and they're paying for it. It's not a situation where a bunch of people are like, well, we want to coerce you into a situation where you have to work and you're not being publicly funded. Like something like within healthcare. It's been said, Rand Paul weighed in on this. Well, as a doctor, as I believe an eye surgeon predominantly, he's like, well, under a socialist healthcare system, what these people like Sanders are telling me is I will be forced to do procedures. I'm not even going to get to decide what they cost. There is no free market involved. Okay, very well. That's the situation you have kind of with the teachers. The teachers there are being paid on the taxpayer dole. They are essentially public workers. Should they then be able to screw the same public that is signing their paychecks because you have such a system in place? I don't think so. I don't think that they should be able to go on strike to that degree. If they want to negotiate contracts, so be it. And they can go hardline if they want to. If they want to appoint representatives, so be it. Whatever they want to do under the sun as far as protesting on their own time, so be it. I don't care, by the way, I wouldn't care if the teachers showed up wearing like protest shirts and carrying around signs in the school so long as they're in class and the students are getting their lessons. Once they get to the point, though, where the students, who have done nothing wrong, they have not screwed these teachers, they're not the ones paying for this, they're the ones being educated. Once they are being harmed, that, for me, crosses the line. If they want to extract more money out of the community, okay, who fucking cares? If they want to do collective bargaining, okay. But then you run into other problems. You run into the problem where the union shields ineffective teachers, and people get paid more and more. Like, they're complaining, oh, Vermont teachers are in the bottom third of being paid. Well, someone has to compose the bottom third. Like, there are always going to be states where teachers are paid less. That's number one. Number two, you're not taking into consideration teaching facilities or other benefits. You're only taking into consideration what salary you're getting. What about all the other fringe benefits that Vermont teachers get that a lot of teachers don't? Reimbursements for everything under the sun. Then you have further, what about class size? Some teacher in Texas making, maybe they're making $500 more or less a year, similar salary. But they're teaching a room where you got 45 kids, and the test scores are lower, and the crime rate in the community potentially is higher, and you have other problems within the school. Here you don't have that. You're teaching like what, 12, 13 kids in your classroom. You've got it comparatively easy. The amount of actual work to be done is considerably lower. You can do a better job. It's one thing that increases our test scores, but to say that you're being abused by not being paid a six-figure salary for teaching that 10-kid classroom, it doesn't make sense to me. And the number of students, by the way, is on the decline in Vermont anyway. Like, a bunch of teachers have been let go of, but the thing is, why not? The class sizes are already minuscule. You can only make it, what are you going to do? Just have one-on-one schooling where you've got a teacher for every student that you're having to pay for? Yeah, you'll probably have remarkably well-trained students. They'll be very, very intelligent. They'll be very, very good at academics, at basically learning how to study for a test. That's what modern schooling has devolved into. But the cost would be monumental. But the number of students is shrinking anyway. People increasingly are compacting these schools into union schools, where before, you had like 3-4 communities, they each had their own little school. Now they're all trying to combine them. Like Mill River is a union high school. It doesn't just serve the Clarendon area. It also services Danby, Mount Tabor, Shrewsbury, parts of Rutland town, I believe. Rutland City School usually services Rutland City. Like I went to Mill River. I'm all the way at the other end of the metro area. I went there because I liked the sort of aesthetic and everything better. I made a good decision, by the way, by going there. I was very happy at my high school. As far as I know, our teachers never went on strike when I was there. There were some quirks there, but it was pretty good overall. But Burlington, Burlington's a little bit different. They're very heavily unionized. There are lots of hippies smoking weed there. Some of the teachers are hippies that are probably smoking weed on the picket lines. Who cares? Let them make that decision. But don't affect the students' educational attainment by walking out. That's not the way to do it. You're trying to hold people hostage. It also, by the way, I don't know if they realize this, but it makes the teachers look bad. Because while they're shouting, support your teachers, well, why don't you support the students? That's your job. It's what you get paid for. And yet they have to live like, snow days coming early. We don't have to go to class. There's no class to go to. Or, another possibilities, let those teachers strike. Have other people in the community that actually know things, have them come in and teach anyway. Bring the students in and say, no, we're going to have a fun-filled day. We'll order pizza or something. We'll charge it to the union representatives. Fuck them. So we're going to get pizza in, and we're just going to have a bunch of people come in. They'll tell you about, like, woodworking and masonry and stuff. Let's have a fun day. Normal classes are suspended. Today we're going to be learning about mortuary science, furniture building, and taking care of hydroponics. Isn't it going to be great? Teach them some skills during the strike. Yeah. They'll be better off for it. Get them some hands-on education. I think it'd be great. Or you could get Gene Simmons in there to teach sex ed, maybe. Hire him to come in. I jest. That wouldn't be a great idea. But yeah, that's basically the state of affairs. And the World Socialist website has to report on it, because a lot of the local media, they'll touch the story once, and then they'll sort of quiet down about it, because they don't want to keep it fresh in people's minds. Hey, yeah, socialism is causing your kids not to get an education right now. One of the more important aspects of their upbringing, I would think, in general. That's about all. Peace out.